All right, welcome back. So we're gonna build a resource with make model and CRUD, and we've been making resources with make model, but we haven't really wired them up. And so what we've been doing is building out like a recipe resource and playing with it in the Flask Shell, understanding how migrations work, and that's a lot of fun, and I actually really enjoy that. But if we're building a web application, we need controllers, we need routes, we need templates to display these things on the web browser. And so that's what we're going to do, and we really only have to add one little thing to get of a whole lot of typing done for us, which is great because no one likes to type for typing's sake. So we're gonna make this short, and let's get to it. Now, if you've been following along, there's a high probability that you already have recipes, and I'm going to rebuild recipes again. So I'm in my demos folder, and I'm going to spin up a new Flask application. And I give you that here if you want to just copy it. I'm just going to call it, instead of example model with CRUD, I'm just going to call it my project, as I've been doing. So you can see right now in my projects, I just have cooker. We'll come back to cooker, but just set it aside for right now. So we're going to do Flask, new, my project. All right. Run that, takes a second or so, and we'll spin it up once it's done. So cd into my project, and we'll run it. All right. So let the browser, fortunately Chrome is working with us here, so that's all good. And we have our app nice and running. You can see it right here. And so we're not in a virtual environment, and let's pull up VS Code just so we can see the models. So right now we have just the user model. That's what a new Flask app comes with. And then the routes are just the mains. The templates are just mains. So we're going to see a lot of content created. And here, I don't need logs. I'll just bump that up so you can see it on the side while I run this. So we're going to run Flask make model recipe minus CRUD. All right, let's run that. Probably watch over here. A whole bunch of stuff will happen. Okay, so things got collapsed. There's the recipe. Let's look in routes. There's a new folder called recipes. Here are 7 RESTful routes for recipes. So we've got our index page, which will show all the recipes. Here's a show page to see an individual recipe, create, store. So that's your post, actually storing it. Here's an edit page, and then there's the actual editing of it in the database, and then here's a deleting from the database. So there's your 7 RESTful actions. You should have templates for all the gets. So here's recipes, and there's the 4. Your blueprint, this recipe blueprint, should be registered with your app, and there it is in the create app registered. And then let's see, we need a controller. So here's the controller. There's a recipe controller. Follows those 7 RESTful methods there, and that controller is registered with your controllers. So there it is. If we go to the browser and fingers crossed here. We can go to recipes. Good. We can go to recipes 1, and we can go to recipes create. So we have all our 7 RESTful actions. We got it in one simple command, which was Flask make model recipe minus CRUD. Now, if you've been following along, you're going to say, Drew, I already had this. I had this with Flask make controller, and you sure did. You are correct. With Flask make controller, RecipeController minus CRUD minus M, that does exactly the same thing as Flask make model recipe minus CRUD. Now, for me, I would much rather type that than all this. But many people think differently, and that's totally fine. I wanted to, when I built out Flask Commands, I wanted to have as many different ways of doing similar things, so that for those people who think mechanically and are like, I'm gonna need to go grab this thing and this thing and this thing, and their brain lives in that controller type world, then you have this command. For those people who think I need this structure and this structure and this structure, then you have that command. So it's really just kind of where you want to start from. But you're also probably going to say, well, this is a pretty simple example. It's a model that has one word. What happens when there are 2 words? Can you still use Flask make model? The answer is yes. And then for those of you who are going to be really keen and have watched probably all the videos, you're like, well, Flask make controller had a lot of functionality. I was even able to do things like namespacing. Can I still do that in Flask make model? So remember, Flask make model, really we're thinking about the model, whereas Flask make controller, you're kind of thinking more along the lines of routes and controllers, and where it's more of the integration built into your Flask application. So I give a silly little 2 doors into the same room of the house or something like that, but I don't want to give it all away. So I'll say, stay tuned. We're going to see more similarities to Flask make model and Flask make controller. We're going to see that in the next videos. So I'll see you in the next video.